All right, I'm back. Okay, so what I've got up here now is right where we left this guy. But I did bring this in. This is a little app called PureRef that everybody uses. It's essentially a reference app. Okay, so you can use it to bring things up that you can hover and you just leave it. It just sits on top of your screen. It's PureRef, PUREREF.com. And I think you can probably download it for free. They ask for a donation. I think the minimum is like $5, something like that. It's well worth it. It's really pretty cool. You can load images in, save them. You can just click on one and hit the space bar and it'll zoom in on it. You can zoom in manually. You can move the window around, wherever you want it. You can pan, you can rotate stuff, you can flip things. It's really, really pretty cool. And for the cost, if you're going to do any art, it's always a good idea to have reference. It's not cheating to learn where things are while you're working on stuff. It's perfectly cool. And even when you're doing something like an ogre or an orc or anything in between, what makes things look right is because as humans we kind of know where things belong. We don't always know how to do that, but we know where they are, and we mostly know when they don't look right. So, for instance, my ear here is kind of high, which is not a big deal on an orc, but I'm going to probably want to lower that a little bit. Okay, so if I just grab this and just start dragging that guy down, maybe pull that into a more normal right at the top or below the eye a little bit, and then of course dynamesh that again to clean it up. Okay, that kind of thing. That's much better. I probably got it a little too far out. Anyway, just wanted to mention that because that's going to be sitting on the screen, and I don't want you to think, where's that in ZBrush? Actually, you can do that in ZBrush. I'll show you that when we get into painting stuff. Okay, there is a mode in ZBrush called Spotlight that lets you put images on the screen and paint through them, with them, and around them, and stuff like that. All right. All right. Okay, so I am going to go to the Clay Buildup tool here. Okay, and remember I changed the alpha from square to soft round. Okay, so we can just start painting in a little bit more in terms of some of the musculature here and the not just the muscle but the bone, kind of the bone ideas here, and where we have some shapes that we want to build up, like around the eye, like that. Okay, and we've got a big old jaw thing down here that it would be nice to get more of a jawbone feel going on with that. Okay, and again, I'm just building them up big, simply because it's easier to start that way. Okay, and then you can start smoothing them out. Okay, so again, if I hold down the shift key here, I can smooth the transitions a bit, like that. Okay, and you can see how that's starting to happen here, like that. And again, I want more definition under the eye. Again, this is just clay buildup, nothing else. Okay, and at a certain point here, what I'm going to find is that I need more resolution. Okay, or you will need more resolution. We all need more resolution. That's just a good saying. But you don't want to have more than you need until you actually are getting around to using it. Okay, and at some point here, I'm going to find that this is just not enough for me to do what I want to do with the shapes that I've got. Okay, I'm just going to pull this down a bit. And sometimes I'll just stop talking because I get into what I'm doing, and I'm sure you guys all kind of understand that feeling too, of kind of zoning out when you're doing art and stuff. It's kind of the cool thing about art. It makes time fly, and you are having fun, I hope. Okay, so you see I'm just kind of bulking that up a little bit here. Maybe smooth that a little bit. Okay, like that. So he's got this just ginormous jaw right now. I will probably just pull that in a bit more, like that. Yeah, Grandpa, there you go. All right, maybe break this into a more, I don't know, toothy, less, kind of a more creepy looking mouth, perhaps, more like a howling thing, contacting the mothership or something. I don't know, something like that. And you see, I'm just on the fly, just drawing some of this stuff. Oops, I don't want to be on move now. I want to be on Clay Buildup. Undo that. So I want to build this up a little bit more here, and then I will start to push in as well. Okay, so if I hold down the Option key, I can start going the other way on some of this and craft a little bit more in instead of out. So it's like an additive and subtractive process kind of going on simultaneously as you do this stuff. Okay, so you're going to be pulling and pushing as you go, and just kind of building this stuff out. Okay, I don't know what that's all about, but I'll figure that out later. When the two dots meet in the middle, you're in the middle of your object, and then you can quite easily just start to draw single lines instead of doubles. Okay, and here again, if I start looking at the muscles, how this comes out and goes down like this, I'll start to get more of that feel. Same thing with the lips pulling out here like that, getting a little more of a place where I can start to put teeth behind the lips in this gummy area that I left. Okay, that kind of thing. Okay, so now again, if I decide now, and I just decided at this point I want to bring this up to like 128. Okay, 128 like that, and hold on Control and drag, and you'll see I got twice the resolution that I had before, and I'm now up to 56,000, which is no big deal. Okay, that's nothing to ZBrush. There's nothing at all. Not a thing. Okay, hit the F key to pull that back in when I accidentally zoom too far out. Okay, so I'll start. Now you'll see with the brush now I have a higher degree of resolution to work with, so that I can start to get a little bit more going on in a little bit more of a subtle way here. Not that any of this is really subtle at this point. Okay, but that's okay. That's kind of what we're here for. Okay, to just kind of play with these ideas. Pull that in. Okay, I'm just going to hit Control and drag again to pull that out a bit, like that. All right. All right. All right, so he's starting to look rather, creepily monstrous, which is exactly what we want. Okay, and again, I'm just kind of taking some liberties here with some of this stuff, but the big thing to be aware of is try not to get too detailed too fast. Okay, you really want to give yourself the option of making big moves, okay, and not having to worry about other little details happening. One of the biggest issues you will run into when you start learning ZBrush is getting too much detail too soon. Okay, it's a real common problem to just start noodling and getting little things. You'll see at no place on this is my brush very small. Okay, it's all still pretty big shapes. Okay, and that's absolutely by design. And again, you can see how quickly you can just start to modify this. So let's say I want the whole bottom of the jaw and stuff to just get pushed up more. Get a big old draw size here and just kind of push that up. Okay, and all of a sudden I've got a completely different looking thing. Okay, and I can then, if I want to start to pull a neck out or something like that, it's easy enough to do at that point. Okay, kind of too big here, but get the idea. All right, so if I wanted to start, creating more of a frame or a place where I could start to bring, other parts of him together. Okay, like a body, starting to build shoulders and a body and things like that off of it. I could do so. Okay, like that. All right, pull that in a bit, like that. Okay, and the other thing is you can see how quickly you can iterate, where you can make versions of something very, very quickly. And then the best thing to do when you're doing that is just to keep saving variations, so you can go back and say, oh, I like this one better. I can stick them all on the screen at once, do something else with it. It's a quick and easy way to begin to develop a bunch of things where you can use as starting points for something else, or get them all together, take screenshots or whatever in Photoshop, bring them all together so you can start to see what they all look like as you start making them. Okay, let me just pull this down a bit, and I'm on my Clay Buildup again. All right, so just start to maybe pull up a little more, like he's gotten in some battles here. And again, maybe the eyes, I think a lot with just playing with the basic shapes of things here to try to give myself room to work. Okay, and then I probably in the next one I'll pull in some spheres that we can drop into the eye sockets to begin to position like eyelids and things where they would normally be. Okay, so you can kind of see how the eyes, poke out here and kind of wrap around a bit, and that's what you want to leave yourself room for. Okay, so it's kind of fun to just just play around with the structure here, because it's so easy to change things. Okay, it's just a blast to mess around with stuff. Okay, so we're at 128, no big deal. So in the next video, what I'll do is start adding a little bit more detail and start to flesh out some of the characteristics a bit more of the face and make some other decisions. Maybe start to get the ears where I want them, or start to look the way I think they should look. They've got kind of like animal ears here. Okay, so that's what we'll do there. And maybe we'll go over and start to use some sculptress brushes, which was in the previous video with Dynamesh, adding detail in a very specific area, and then how you can use the project button with Dynamesh to keep those details intact when you drag and re-Dynamesh your object. Okay, so that's it for this one. And at this point, you guys really should just be noodling. You should take this stuff and start playing around and making your own stuff, because it's going to take you a little while to get comfortable for what brush to use when, what do you do with them, how do they work, how do I get unscrewed up when I screw things up. Okay, so I'm just going to play with this, and I'll come back and we'll just work on it from this point. Okay, there we go. Cool. Don't forget to save your work. Okay.